Just because I'm wearing a tank top doesn't mean I'm lifting weights.
I was just giving credit where credit is due, and that is straight to your biceps. You can take a look at all the guys that Michael just talked about and who I was not fully listening to him.
Triple shimmy. Got him. And Fuentes, it's a grinder behind the back grab by Strowman, but can he get it there in time? Just barely.
We like to call them an egg Sammy here.
Oh, yeah. We definitely don't do that here.
Struck him out.
Paying homage to Tommy Lasorda.
The enthusiasm needs to get higher for that. It's hump day in baseball.
I really like that music. Good morning. I'm your host, Michael Simione. You can follow me on Twitter at SP Streamer. You're watching SP Streamer Live. For today, we're going to go through some the streaming chart as per usual, and then some fun stories. So as you can all see, we have a guest for today, and that is Keith Betrower, and you can follow him on Twitter at KP Watershed. What is going on, Keith?
Not too much. Thanks for the intro. It is great to be here. It's I listened every episode, so it's surreal kind of being here, but excited to be part of the show.
I think you were like one of the first people to join my membership, if I'm right.
Yeah, I've been following.
First.
It was a while back. Yeah, I mean, I've been following this spreadsheet since I think before there was a membership. It was like definitely 2019, maybe the end of 2018. You were getting some love on Yankee's Twitter, and a friend recommended it. I've got a couple of leagues. Oh yeah. And helped me win a couple of leagues, and I've been here ever since.
Nice. Yeah, I remember you joined, and then I don't know. I ended up doing something. Then I had to switch it out, whatever. And I think I just like brought you in for free. I was like, just stay in here.
Yeah, it was one of the originals. I got a couple of months at least, maybe a full season on the house, which I appreciate because it's always been an amazing resource, and it's been exciting seeing it grow to expand, the streaming hitters and the betting advice. And there's just so much that's there now. It's, it's a fun community to stay in touch with on top of the great advice. And
it gets crazy too. Yeah. Real quick, we got a quick question already. What did you think of Mad Max last night? Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, it's wild what's going on. I mean, I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Joe Girardi, so I was kind of rooting for his side of that. Yeah, man, it's wild. I mean,
and who did it last night? I saw a video this morning. I forgot what pitcher, but they asked to check him, and he freaked out, like literally just threw everything off. He pulled his pants down. I can't remember what pitcher it was. Oh my God, it was so funny. But basically, like, all these guys are just like, go ahead, fucking check me. They just don't even care right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't blame Mad Max for it. I mean, I thought that was insane that they did it 3 times. Like, come on, guys, just do it once and call it a day. That's it. So it was definitely a little excessive there, but it's definitely interesting to watch the pitchers' reactions to these. It's pretty freaking funny, actually.
It's such a mess how it's just started so haphazardly in the middle of the season. I mean, it's another just mark against Manfred for sure. I do like the idea of a pitcher getting checked and then immediately putting the stuff on the glove right after, which I guess is what they were implying that Max was doing there.
Right.
That's to be a fun way around the check, but I can get behind any pitcher who's trying that, but I'm not being like, it's slowing the games down. It's I mean, the drama is I guess interesting for now, but it's not helping the game for sure.
Yeah, exactly. When they did it with DeGrom, I didn't think it was that bad because at least they did it between innings, and I just don't know if managers are going to kind of be like Girardi and start forcing these to do it to these pitchers. And you're right, it's just going to delay the game and be kind of annoying, if anything.
All these unintended consequences. Yeah, if you can rattle a pitcher by getting him checked an extra time or two, like as a manager, why wouldn't you do that?
It's a good point.
And I mean, I invested a lot in Glasnow this year, so I've been against the crackdown since the beginning.
Since the video,
but
that was great that he did that, though. I'm happy he just came out and was like, everyone freaking uses this stuff. Like, just let us use it and, look for the crazy tax. So,
yeah.
All right. Let's move on to streaming. We're going to roll through the chart real quick. And then again, we're going to get to Keith has some fun stories and stuff. He also runs a YouTube channel, so we'll chat that, discuss that a little bit too. All right. So for today, our main options are James Caprillion in shallow leagues and then Caleb Smith in main/deep leagues. Both have decent matchups. As for Caprillion, Texas, they've been struggling. They just got blown out yesterday as well. Fetty's not a bad option. I do like him. He's done some interesting things as of late, so I want to see if that carries over. I have a tough time trusting Richards personally, but the Rays are struggling. Michael King's look decent. He's finally stretched out. Justice Sheffield gets Colorado home, and we all know that Colorado can struggle on the road. Matt Manning, I do actually like this a lot. St. Louis is pretty bad right now, but again, I tend to stay away from rookie pitchers. But if you like to take that shot, roll with it. The rest of it's pretty meh. I wouldn't really touch it. Some people might be on Kyle Wright against the Mets. I get it. I just can't. I'm not a Kyle Wright fan. So I'll be staying away from that. But I do want to touch on Caleb Smith real quick. I feel like a lot of people ask me about him and if I think he's going to continue being successful, all this kind of stuff. So what are your opinions on him?
He's an interesting pitcher. He's one that anytime he pitches well, he gets mentioned on the Yankees broadcasts and in the Yankees universe, because we got a couple of former Yankees farmhands here in Caprillion, as well as Smith, who was actually traded for Michael King. So a lot of former Yankees teammates or former Yankees farmhands. They weren't there at the same time. He's been decent. He's been good on the worst team in baseball. I mean, he's probably not going to help you much with wins. But Caleb Smith is a guy who's always kind of shown flashes. So if you can roll him out there for a matchup like this one, I would say go for it. I mean, is he a guy that I'm going to buy and hold for the rest of this year? Probably not. If you're doing that, you're probably hoping for him to get traded, which I don't think Arizona will trade him. He's still got a few years of control. But no, I mean, he's been quietly pretty decent. Yeah.
So you're sticking with he's probably just a streamer and stream him in the right spots type of thing.
I think so. I mean, unless it's, the deepest of leagues. I mean, tough division. This is a nice matchup here, but they're not all going to be at home against Milwaukee. So, I mean, you could do worse. There's some talent there, but I don't know that I'd be, going out and trading for him or spending a lot to get him, but he's definitely a guy that, as I look for streamers, he's a name I would not hesitate to plug and play with a good matchup.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think he's really necessarily in shallow leagues or even 12-teamers. I wouldn't hold him. I would stream him. Just because I think he's really just one pitch as of right now. I think he's got to work on his fastball. But I think he still has some work to be done. He's always let up a lot of home runs, so I'm afraid of that happening again. I mean, we have seen it from time to time this season. So I think he's just a good streamer in the right spot, especially if you want strikeout upside. I mean, that's why I like this, because Milwaukee against lefties, they strike out a ton, the 30.2 strikeout rate. So, so I agree there. Caleb Smith, don't try and add him rest of the season. If you want to grab him for today, go ahead, but I would just drop him right after.
Yeah.
All right. For the 24th, tomorrow, a lot of weird options, kind of a tough day. It looks like Chad Kuhl has the best matchup, but can we really trust Chad Kuhl? I am going with Leicester here against Miami just because Miami kind of fluctuates offensively. They're not really hitting that great right now. I feel like you just got to get through those power hitters. And if you can, then you're okay. Leicester's been okay on the road, but again, Miami's been really bad against lefties. So that's why I kind of like this here. But my question for you is, if you didn't have to stream today, would you with these matchups? Because I feel like, again, Kuhl is the best matchup, but he's not really been that great. Carlos Martinez, you have no idea what you're going to get from any night. He's either letting up like 8 runs or none. Kobe Allard, I do like, but tough matchup. Petit's good, but tough matchup. And then you could go so on. I mean, your boy Tyan's on there. He's been horrendous, but
yeah.
So what do you think, Keith? Would you stream this day if you didn't have to, or would you just skip?
If I could avoid it, I would skip tomorrow. Lester's been a guy who's helped me a lot years ago, maybe decades ago. He's been good recently. He looked really good against the Mets in his last start.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I had to pick a name from this list, it would be Lester. Cool's burned me too many times. But if I could avoid it tomorrow, there's a decent number of options coming up, I think, for the rest of this week. So unless you're really, really desperate, I'd probably take the day off from streaming tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. When I put who I was picking in yesterday's article for the 24th, I put John Lester and I put in like parentheses, if you dare.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's just a legitimate coin flip. You know what I mean? This whole day is a coin flip to me. There's nothing obvious. And I think, if you don't have to stream, don't bother. All right, real quick, we're going to touch on the 25th. Typically, we go through this together, but I did it myself this morning because we have a guest. So Tony Gonsolin is going to be my shallow pick for the Cubs. He's going to be home. Looks like a great matchup. Cubs have been horrendous, like the worst team in the league, essentially. Well, them in St. Louis, who Will Crow gets. You all know I'm a Will Crow fan. He did throw the fastball more than the slider, which I didn't want to see last outing, but that could have been game plan because it did work out. So maybe that team just struggled really bad against fastballs. So we'll see there. Canning's a decent option too, a strikeout upside against the Rays. The Rays are typically better against lefties as opposed to righties. And Joe Ross at Miami is another option as well. And then you just scroll through here and it's kind of just, again, like I keep using that term. I like a lot of coin flips here. I mean, Peterson now has strung together 2 good starts, but we know it gets blown up. Dunning has high strikeout upside, but the Royals are playing well. Howard can't get through 4 innings. Instead of me just rambling through this, Tony Gonsolin, Will Crow, we're going to roll with them for the 25th as of right now. Would you change anything there, Keith?
No, I agree. I like Gonsolin. I don't think he's gone 4 innings yet this year either, but he will. This might be.
I think he'll do it this
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think I agree with what you got highlighted here.
Yep, totally. All right, so just to reiterate, today, Caprillion, Smith, tomorrow, Lester, and the day after, we're going to go Gonsolin, Will Crow. Now we're going to move on to the portion where we get to ask Keith why he is permanently banned from Yankee Stadium. And please don't tell me it's because you were streaking.
No, I was not streaking. I did not interfere with the play on the field whatsoever. It was, at the time it seemed like a victimless crime, although the Yankees would beg to differ. Basically, I was moving down to better seats for a lot of games. And at the new Yankee Stadium, for anyone who hasn't been, they have this section called the Legends section, which is right up close to the field behind home plate.
And you famously get the food and
they get all free food, free buffet, free non-alcoholic drinks. And it's separated from the rest of the stands by this concrete moat. So like nobody can really move down. They have like security guarding this moat. Mm-hmm. And they got this buffet inside. So, these tickets are ridiculously expensive. It rarely sells out down there. And even for the tickets that sell, a lot of the people who are there are not real fans. So they're inside in the air conditioning, at the buffet, at the bar. So you see on TV a lot, it looks like it's empty there. There'll be like empty rows, seats will be like more than half empty back there. And as a result, if you can somehow get down there, you can find a seat because nobody's in those seats. So that's what I was basically doing. I would go to the stadium, like get in with a cheap, $5, $10 bleacher seat or upper deck ticket, and then move down into Legends. I did this for a number of games over a number of years, and it was a great run while it lasted. I mean, those Yankees teams of the late 2010s, I think were, it was the team we're seeing now when they were just, first breaking out, which was a great time to, be at, a lot of games at the stadium. But it kind of went to my head a bit, and I flew too close to the sun. You know, in the beginning, you know, I was doing it very under the radar, but towards the end, people started noticing. I didn't really help myself out too much there. I kind of got into this running joke where I started wearing like bright neon colored shirts with like messages on them, which like became a running gag that was fun at the time. But it resulted in like
them
they were
noticing
starting,
you.
yeah, like on the TV broadcast, they'd be like, "Oh, it's the neon shirt guy. What does this shirt say today?" So this got noticed on the TV broadcast, and at that point, this was beginning of the 2018 season. The Yankees took notice and were, you know, at first, you know, kind of like, "Oh, this guy must be spending, you know, thousands of dollars here. He must be a season ticket holder. Who is this guy? Let's talk to him." And they very quickly realized that I was not a season ticket holder. And, you know, once they found my name, they can find out where your seats really are. So they started investigating. In fairness to them, they also gave me a warning, which I was kind of like, at this point, I didn't listen to it. I was like, what are they going to do? Like, these seats are empty anyway. Like, do they really care? I mean, the Yankees got, you know, bigger fish to fry, but apparently they had enough fryers to and yeah, there was a Yankees Red Sox game in May of 2018. Moved down during a rain delay, and as play started back up, two guys come down and they're like, "Hey, you're the neon shirt guy. Can we take a selfie with you?" Which like doesn't happen to me often, but you know, it had happened at the stadium. People were recognizing me enough at that point that like it wasn't.
That's crazy.
I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's do it."
You're like semi-famous.
I don't know if famous.
You're Yankee fan famous.
Okay, sure. I mean, like I was there, so I was living at the stadium, so like I knew everybody there. I knew all the security guards. I knew so many employees there and regulars. You know, it really, yeah. I was just, you know, I was going to pretty much every game. We take the selfie. And as we're turning back around, these two guys take out their badges, and they were plainclothes undercover cops. And they're like, "So we want to take the selfie. We know who you are. Like we like what you're doing, but we know what you're doing, and you got to come with us." And so they escort me to Yankees jail at Yankee Stadium. And the Yankees were serious. I mean, the Yankees wanted me charged with some serious stuff. Ultimately, wound up being held overnight in Bronx Central Booking and had to go to court. Yeah, while I was being held in Bronx Central Booking, the two cops come back, or they come to you know, the cell where I was being held and hand deliver this envelope from the desk of the New York Yankees. And I open it up, and it is a notarized hand signed lifetime ban from Lantrost. And I have not been back to the stadium since that night.
Oh man. So did you end up having to pay any fines or no?
I did, yeah.
Oh jeez.
I had to get a lawyer. It was a whole big thing.
Oh my god.
And
wow.
I mean, the Yankees had wanted me to pay restitution basically for every single game that they could prove I was at. And they wanted full face value for those tickets, which, as we mentioned earlier,
I'm sorry,
but
that's ridiculous. I mean, like you said, you guys make billions of dollars. Like, you really need to just put you in jail for a night, say you're banned, and call it a day. Like, you really got to make someone. I don't know. That's so ridiculous.
Thanks. I mean, I'd like to get unbanned at some point, so I don't know that I want to come on and bash the Yankees. I do understand from their point of view. Like, it's not like I wasn't eating the free food and getting the free
that's true.
Drinks and all that stuff. And like, I had also, as you mentioned, I've got a YouTube channel. I was on there at the time, bashing the Yankees because I felt, especially then, especially outraged at how those seats are empty so much and how they're so strict about not letting regular fans move down. Like, even when it's, the ninth inning of a blowout, and even when they've closed down the restaurant and the food is shut down. And that's such a big part of what made me a baseball fan and made me a Yankees fan in the first place, was getting to move down before the game, during batting practice, and after the game to meet the players and get autographs. And that just was such a huge thing at the old Yankee Stadium, and still is at older stadiums, but just doesn't exist now. because of this setup. So I had been speaking out about that and posting videos about that on YouTube. The Yankees, were not happy about that either. So I do think they had wanted to kind of make an example of me, which, they did.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, fortunately, like the Yankees didn't sue me. Like they were basically going to the Bronx district attorney and were having me charged through the DA. And fortunately,
Gotcha.
and this is also credit to, my lawyer, I think, doing a good job of working with the Bronx DA. The Bronx district attorneys, they definitely have bigger fish to fry. They're dealing with $1 million corruption and crimes that really have victims who are hurting in a way that the Yankees were maybe I was kind of thumbing my nose at them, but they weren't. It's not like they were being put out of business by this.
That's crazy. Wow. That's thing. Is there did they have you is there an actual possibility of you not being banned ever again, or
I hope so. I mean, the ban doesn't say reapply in 5 years. I think from their point of view, they're doing just fine. They don't need me back. I mean, I was spending a lot of money at the stadium, and I still am a loyal Yankees fan. I think my best bet, is to behave, not give them any other reason to be upset. So maybe coming on a podcast and talking about them, it's not the best idea. If there's any Yankee security,
I highly
Yankees
doubt they are
listening
to this.
Lon Trust, you never know. Lon Trust, he's 80 years old. So I do think he will retire at some point. And I guess I'm hopeful that once he has a replacement, that person might be more open to letting me back, especially if I offered to buy a season ticket package or apologize and spend some money there. I hope they'd be open to it. There's a precedent for it. I don't know if there have been other fans who have been unbanned, but George Steinbrenner was banned from baseball for 3 years. He was banned for life. He got reinstated. They've welcomed A-Rod back to the stadium after he did his time and was remorseful. So I think there's, in that sense, there is some precedent for getting a second chance. And I hope the Yankees will eventually see it that way too. But yeah, in the meantime, it's been an excuse to travel to other stadiums that I wouldn't have normally gone to. And that money I would have been spending at Yankee Stadium, use it to take trips down to Camden or up to Fenway.
Just you did this video of Coors Field right here.
That was one of them. Yeah, great stadium. Yeah, and you can kind of see the neon colored shirt that kind of led to my downfall. Yeah.
I've been to Coors Field. I loved Coors Field. I thought it was really nice.
Beautiful stadium.
Yeah, it was nice. So, thanks for coming on. I mean, so Keith, this is your YouTube channel. I mean, you have almost 5,000 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. So you do a lot of random things on here, right?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the plug. Definitely feel free to check it out. A lot of those subscribers, actually, no, a good deal of them came from the baseball content and the sports content on there. I, in a previous job, got to travel quite a bit and had some weird experiences traveling in Asia and Europe. So some of those stories also, brought in some followers. I've been banned or gotten into trouble, I guess, in other places too, besides Yankee Stadium, which, I'm still here. They've been fun stories. You only live once. So all that stuff's up on there. Nice. Check it out.
Awesome stuff. All right, Keith, thanks again. If any of you want to follow him on Twitter, it's at KP Watershed. Follow us on Twitter at SP Streamer. If you like the show, obviously follow us on Twitch and YouTube. And we will be back tomorrow morning with another guest, Frank Amarante. Haven't decided what we're talking about yet, so I can't even tell you. But thanks again, everyone, for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.